apart gifts. You know, you can't like peel them away.
Best way to open.
You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover. You heard of that one? Look at that, please judge this one. It is the best. I love it. So this photograph was shot by my friend Zoe. And I think she managed to get something so pure and such a beautiful essence from this image. So it's one of the books and the covers that I'm very, very proud of. Like I said, today is not about this book and why you need to buy it and all of that. This is a celebration. And I wanted to, and like I said, with my loved ones, many of you all were there for the previous launch and now some new faces for this one. I wanted to share a little moment of, you know, as an author you have these ups and downs and these journeys. I remember the first book that came out, Change Your Habits, Change Your Life. I was looking for it everywhere in every bookshop. Because, you know, we think author, na, matlab, I have written it now, bestseller. Right? It'll be everywhere. And I looked everywhere. Every time I took a flight, I would say, you know, hey, kya? You're like a little puppy at the glass, like, you know, where is this book? It's not there. I would walk past these walls that are bestseller, number 2, number 3, and I would be like, God, what's gonna happen? And, you know, almost a feeling of rejection, dejection. And I remember this one time I was in Delhi, we were signing books at this market, and this lady turned up and she said, Ashdin, I've come to only meet you and I want you to sign this book, and I've done for 2 hours to get here. Right? There was another lady who came all the way from Jaipur to Delhi just to meet for those few minutes to sign. And that's when that moment really hits, you know, saying that all the work that you do really touches people's lives in such different ways that you'll never understand, you might never meet. But you have to keep putting yourself out there because you have no idea what influence you're having on somebody. Like I keep telling all of us are somebody's inspiration. You don't know whose. You might never know, but you're always somebody's inspiration. And then last week, a friend of mine was passing through the domestic airport and he took a picture, he took a story and he posted it. And he said, Ashdin, look, one book here on the bestsellers list, one book here on the bestsellers list. Both looking at each other. And I was fully choked up and I was like, you know, it's amazing how consistency ultimately pays off. You know, as a habit coach, I keep talking about consistency. Consistency is, you might not see the result immediately, but the more you put your work in, it all compounds over time to something brilliant. And the reason why we came up with this book is that the title itself says a lot. Small actions, big results. Habit Coach podcast comes out, people listen, they don't do anything afterwards, they listen to the next episode. The whole idea as a habit coach was how do I make people take action on the things that they wanted to do. Because only once you take action does life change. So the whole book and the series now that we have, One Habit a Day, as well as Small Actions, Big Results, is all about the workbooks that are there as part of it. How do you take that small action into something great that's going to become? Very often we do the exact opposite. We do big actions, and what kind of results do we get? Chotu ones. Right? You know what, I'm going to work on this presentation for the next 9 hours. I'm going to study for the next 9 hours in one hardcore way. And what happens exactly after 1.5 hours? Now you're tired, you're distracted, suddenly Instagram has popped up and you've lost that time. Doesn't it happen to all of us? Right? We create these big actions that we're going to want to have and we end up having no results. So the idea is how do we learn that small little things that we do are going to compound over time. Weston came to me and said, Ashdin, you know the big problem people are having now is mobile phone addiction. How many of you are mobile phone addicts? My hand is up permanently whenever this comes up. Right? So many of us are mobile phone addicts. And he said, Ashdin, you need one book on mobile phone addiction. I was like, okay. First I need to give up my mobile phone addiction. You know, like Mama said, only once I do something do I talk about it. And I haven't figured this out yet. But I figured out how to be focused and productive. And I said, why don't we create a book on this, because this currently is the burning need of the hour. Exactly on cue, huh? The mobile phone. Julie, perfect.
I think you had
think so too. Thank you. So the whole idea was, how do we have this whole focus and productivity, because I think that's what is needed right now. And the idea of this book is, how do we maximize our time, maximize our energy, and how do we take it to that next level. So very, very proud to have this book. Thank you everyone for coming in. Oops, shall we get a bit more? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, sorry, 1 second. I'm clearly not like a seasoned MC at this. So what we're going to do is, Kubbs and I are going to talk. She's going to ask me a few questions, but then I want to open it up to all of us. So please think about questions, think about things that you want to say. If you want to share anything, if I've ever, helped you in any way, please share that. That'll be fantastic. I'll feel very nice about it. So think about that. We'll have a little session open for everyone, Q&A, and we'll take it from there. Kubbs, what say you?
Hi Ash, how are you doing? It's amazing. We call each other Ash, he calls me Kubbs, and it feels like we're at the most informal setting of our lives. This is literally like sitting in your living room with mom around, going around troubling dad to make coffee. Please sit down, it's your book launch. We can sit down and celebrate. I mean, I had like notes prepared, but he shared a few of these points. I'll just...
I didn't. I'm
kidding. They don't even know what's coming. So ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me say and share with you that it's such an honor to be sharing this stage with Ashdin Doctor. I was literally asking him a minute ago as to how long we've known each other, and we mutually agreed to round it off to 10 years. You can guess. It can be any number of years. Now we've rounded off to 10. But I do remember meeting Ashdin as an individual who wanted to change his life. There was this acute need to break out of the skin that he was in and emerge into a new being. And this has been a journey of 10 years for Ashdin Doctor. And that for me is phenomenal, because everybody sets out on this journey. But how many of us look back and say that I'm actually celebrating, the last mile that I left behind me? And I guess this man is my best friend, but easily one of my first confidants, the most incredible source of inspiration. And you're right, Vilima, he has immense amount of kindness, because you can come to him with angst, but he's with his kindness gonna tell you how you can turn that place that you're in around. And imagine when you can find that within yourself. And he speaks about how he's seen that change in me, and I am very grateful to you, and I say that to you. So this is just a public forum for me to share my love towards you. Congratulations, man. We've got like your second book in 2 years. Isn't this right? Fourth book in 2 years. In 2 years, no? In 2 years, no? Wow. What was it like when you started writing?
Unknown territory. So I have to tell you about how we started writing. Okay, so Kubbs published her first book. Do you know that Kubbra has a book?
Yeah, I do. Yes. It's right there, okay? Just buy it. 6 copies left. Buy it. Please. Otherwise, I'll only have to buy 4. It's right here.
So Kubbra was talking about how she's writing, and it was fun seeing her, put on her chasmas and do her notes and then sit down and write. And this was during COVID, so it was all video calls that we would be doing at that point of time. And then I was like, Kubbs, I'm also going to start writing a book. She was like, wow, good. Yeah. Then after a few months, she's like, what have you done? I was like, I'm writing the book my way. How do I write a book? I first research how to write a book.
Yes.
So I spent reading 4 books on how to first write a book, make my notes, form my habits before I started doing it. Right? Clearly, I'm doing that sharpening the axe before I start.
The thing is that when you look at success, right, and you are successful, and I feel I'm at a space of success, you just think everyone arrives there in the same way. And sooner you realize that everyone has access to success, but you get there in your own way, take your own route, but you will get there, stay focused. I guess that's what this is.
And take action.
Coming to it, sales pitch. Okay, tell me why 31 habits? Because that was literally the first question I asked you. Of course, it's such a gentle face
Only 31.
Only 31. And why 31? Why not 42? Why not?
42 is actually the magic number. But what we did
42
was,
is a magic number.
Douglas Adams,
Oh, yeah,
answer
yeah.
to life and everything is 42. So anyway, so any Douglas Adams fans, like, you'll know this. But, so the previous book, One Habit a Day, I sent probably 42 habits to them.
Uh-huh.
And the editor looked at it and said, Ashdin, I think 42 habits might be a little bit much. Why don't we do 31 habits? I said, good, 1 habit a day. Yeah, 1 habit a day. And that's how the name 1 habit a day for the first book came. And then, you know me, I have to think, I can't think like one book. So I think series. So it has to be a series of books. So now 31 habits on the first one, 31 habits on the second one. Next series also be 31 habits. So we will
And all these habits are different. So when you read book 1, when you read book 2, when you read book 3, and when you read book 4, you're actually becoming better at implementing what you already have, and then you're creating space to evolve that journey.
in different aspects of your life.
There you go. That's a good question, and that's a pretty cool answer.
Fantastic question.
Thank you.
Good job.
I have this question. In today's world, which is so fast-paced, we are all trying to do more than one thing in our life. Is that something that we commonly agree on?
Yes.
Multitasking.
Yeah, great. My question is, when we think about productivity, we kind of just confuse it with being busy. So how does one make the separation, and how do you lead with understanding what productivity truly is versus just saying, I'm so busy?
This word busy is something that is very, very toxic, I think. I've seen organizations where this word busy just completely ruins everything. And I talk about these as organizational habits. Oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. Oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. How many of us use this word busy? Oh, I'm so busy, life is so busy. Yeah, see, so many hands are going up. We use this word busy like, like sprinkling salt on food. It's like, yeah. But the thing is that what are we saying when we say, oh, I'm too busy for this? We're saying that nothing else is important. And what we do is we pack up our time because we feel that busyness is productive. Busyness is equal to success. Busyness is not equal to success. When I look at the most successful people, some of my clients are very, very successful people. None of them claim to be busy. Ashdin, you want 1.5 hours? No problem, 1.5 hours. I never see them running everywhere. Everything is cool and done. And I keep telling people that money is not the new definition of success. The power that you have over your time is the new definition of success. And this is what it is. If all of you all want to be successful, slow down. We keep talking about productivity as speeding up, but actually the more you slow down, the faster you get things done in the end. So busyness is all about this. And what we do when we think about busyness is, I tell people very often to make a list of what their day looks like. So I say, all right, for the next 1 week, you write down all the things you did during your day. And they look at the list afterwards when we meet them the next day and say, my God, what did I waste my time on? And we all have that feeling, like I didn't need to do this, I didn't need to sit for that meeting, I didn't need to, but I couldn't say no. That's something that many people find hard. And the second thing was I didn't value myself. So what I tell people is that, you have to value yourself as much as you value your most important client when it comes to this, and treat yourself in that same way. Your meetings with yourself are very, very important. So that's the way that I would deal with busyness.
There's a very interesting thing that you write in the book that speaks about time management versus energy management. No one tells us that we need to work and conserve and invest our energy in the places, where, what mutual funds to put your money in, you know how your money will make money when you're sleeping. No one tells you how to invest your energy. No one tells you how to invest your time. Please elaborate.
So people talk about time management.
Yes.
And many of us would have gone for some time management workshop or the other, right? What we don't realize is that it's not time management anymore. It's energy management. And the example I give is, how many of us have had that feeling where it's 4 o'clock in the, it's not even evening, it's afternoonish, right? It's 4 o'clock and you've had your coffee. There is enough time to continue working, but where's your mind at? Chalo, I want to go home. Where's your mind at? Now I'm tired.
Save puri.
Save puri. right? Your mind has wandered. It's no longer there. Your energy has been depleted. You still have lots of time. It's never about time management anymore. It's all about energy management. And what I talk about is learning how do we plan where we put our energy, on what things. Because our day cycle also has different times of high energy and low energy. Like I am most creative in the morning. So for me, my highest creative time, energy is in the morning. Afternoon time is dull. So that's when I do all the dull things. You know, like if I have to work on an Excel sheet, I find Excel sheets dull. You find Excel sheets very interesting, no? So that's when I would spend time on the things that I find dull.
A question. So you say that, when you have most energy, some people have energy at night.
Yes.
So those people who have energy at night and aren't able to set their sleeping cycle, how do you suggest they do?
So it's a very good question. The thing is that there are some people. So there are some people who have this burst of energy at night. They find themselves most creative at this point of time. They also find their home most quiet at that time, which is why they feel that I'm most creative is because other people are not distracting them. So what I tell them is that fantastic, use that night time for your work, no problem. But as long as you then don't try and live by everybody else's schedule. So then don't try and wake up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and God forbid don't try and wake up at 5 o'clock. Right? If you are working through the night, if you're working late, please still get your sleep time in and wake up a little later. That helps. So it depends on when you find your own, rhythm. But it's important to find your rhythm. Many of us are living on other people's rhythms, and that's where our energy goes.
I understand very firmly. I started off in this industry which was pretty alien to me, and the city was pretty alien to me because I never lived here. I knew I was being rewarded every time I hustled hard. Every time I hustled harder than the last time. But today I'm at a different place, different age, different energy pattern and my own rhythm. And I don't feel hustle is what gives me success. What is it that you suggest that someone who's starting out new in their career do, vis-a-vis how do they realign? Some people just believe hustle till the end. Some people feel, no, I'll chill through the end. Where is the balance and how do you find it?
Lovely. Hustle culture is something that has become very, very dominant in our lives, right? Everyone's talking about hustle. Hustle is, like you said, is rewarded.
Yeah, I wanted to name my book Hustle because I thought it was a very good word.
See?
No, not good word.
Hustling, by the word itself has a negative connotation, right? I'm hustling you, right? It has that connotation of, doing jhol, right? For lack of a better word. So the whole thing is the hustle culture, jhol culture. We don't need to do that. What we do is we see other people's success and think I need to be like them, right? We see people who are so busy and we're doing so many things and we're like, if I do so many things, I will also see that success. What we don't realize is that it took that person 15 years to get to that place where all his systems are aligned for that kind of lifestyle. He put in the work and practice that
or she,
muscle.
Or they or them.
They, correct. Everyone put in that practice to get to that spot. And I think that is what we need to learn and do. We need to stop seeing other people's success and saying, I'm also going to publish 4 books in 2 years.
How like this? 4 books and all.
You don't have
2
to do
years.
hustle.
Like this I blinked twice, he had written 4 books. It's correct. Can I read one first?
But can I finish one? So what I tell people is, don't get enamored by hustle culture. Instead, turn it around and say, what are the things that I need to focus on only? And make a list of that. What are the things that only I can uniquely do? Not everybody else's stuff. What is it that only I can do? And that is what you focus on. Because all of us have this quality, right? Like for example, me, I have defined my quality as taking difficult ideas and turning them into something simple to digest. Right? That is the quality that only I can do. Nobody else can do that for me. So what I do is I spend most of my time on that aspect of what I do. Everything else can be outsourced, can be given to others to do. And in that way, you don't necessarily follow your hustle culture. Like for example, now, what have you done? You've realized that these are my 3 main qualities that I need to portray.
Yeah,
that
it
I need
took me
to do.
a long time to arrive.
Right? And then you've said, I'm outsourcing everything. I have a manager to do this, I have this person to do that, I have that person to do that. Correct? Whether they're doing it or not,
That's another discussion.
But the whole thing is that you've shelved it away. and you're focused on what you're good at.
Yes.
We need to identify what we are good at. And the big problem is when I ask people, what are you good at? You don't have a pat answer because you never spend time thinking about it. So today, go home, think about what is it that I'm uniquely good at and develop it. You know what we do, because we're all idiots, is that we say, I'm good at this, I'm not good at this, let me spend more time on all the stuff I'm not good at. Right? Instead of developing the things that we're good at. So what we do is we double down on the stuff that we're good at and we let go and give it to others to do all the stuff that we're not so good at.
That is excellent advice. Thank you very, very much. Excellent. So I someone to, write those files and do everything else. I'm not good at editing a reel, yeah? It's difficult. So you ask an editor to edit a reel. And the more you're able to identify with that, you're just able to then pick on your own growth and then reach that proverbial success in your mind, the way and the pace at which you want to reach. And I like that a lot. Now there's this other thing, like we did speak about being busy. What I love and what we don't talk about enough is boredom. What we don't talk about enough is empty space. And you bring that into the 31 Habits for a Supercharged Life. I've understood spending time with yourself, doing what you really like to do, and not doing, just being in that moment allows me to truly supercharge. So how does one incorporate empty space? What is the definition of empty space?
Lovely. The example I give of empty space is this. So imagine I have porcelain as a material, right? And I give you porcelain. It has a certain cost to it, right? There's a certain value to having a lump of porcelain. But as soon as I hollow out the porcelain, as soon as I hollow out the clay and turn it into a bowl, what happens to the value? It dramatically goes up, right? Imagine if I gave you a full bowl just of porcelain where you can't pour anything inside. Would you have value in that? Nothing. What we've done with our life is we've created a bowl full of porcelain where nothing new can come in. We don't have empty space for new things to come into our lives. What we have to do is we have to realize that we are potters. We're making this vase. And what we're doing is we're creating space for something in the future to come in. We never think about this thing. If you don't create space, nothing in the future can come in, right? There's always so busy. You're so full of hustle. So what we have to do is we have to learn how to create this empty space. The way that I typically tell people to do this, you have Google Calendar, right? I was doing this workshop for Google during the lockdown, and basically their HR team, this is for Google Europe and Google Southeast Asia, they came to me and said that Ashdin, everyone's burning out, what do we do? Okay, we've given them like $1.5 lakh to spend on creating their entire home offices and they're still burning out. What do we do? And I spent time with them and I realized this, that their entire schedule was packed from the time they woke up to the time they went to sleep. Everything was meeting, and now in the digital world, one meeting ends, next meeting starts immediately. Right? We don't even get a chance to go to the coffee counter, pick up something, have a chat with a friend. So what we did was so I asked them, you all have this fantastic thing called Google Calendar? And they all sheepishly said, yeah. And then I said that what you have to do is you have to schedule time for yourself in that. You block that time out right in the beginning. Nobody else can see what you've written. But you block that time out so that you know nothing else is coming there, and that's how you create the empty space. And what I tell is, take 15 minutes out, take half an hour out, and do what I call do nothing time. Sitting and looking out of the window. Sitting with your cup of chai. You suddenly see a bird that you haven't seen in a long time. You suddenly have those little moments. And those moments are what actually feed our soul. So I would strongly suggest we all take a little time out for ourselves, feeding our souls with that empty time.
Wow. Yeah. I know everyone in the audience wants to ask you questions, so I'm going to shut this book. I'm going to ask you one last question. All right? And this is, I think, from my own personal space. Now I don't have a reason to challenge you because everything that you said has actually worked. Right? You're like this soothsayer, habit coach. Wow, I love it. But I'd like to understand when one person is ready to make that change, right? So I go take Ashdin doctors, not one, not two, not three, 4 books, and I read. And I understand everything. I get it. If I do this, action, these deeds, I will get there. And then there is this one voice in the head that says, it is so tough. And for any person who said, dar ke aage jeet hai, I think tough ke aage jeet hai. So, how would you tell me, all our readers, friends and family members, who truly feel, from the most innocent part of their heart, that yes, I can do this, but it's tough. How can I move past it?
I love it. How many people feel tough when make a change? So many people. So I'm going to change this word around tough.
Yeah. That's what Ash does.
Just yesterday somebody was interviewing me for a podcast and they were like, so Ashdin, tell me, what were the challenges you faced when you were writing these books? Correct? Now, tough challenges, same. So what are the challenges you faced while writing this book? And I said, listen, I didn't face any challenges. And she's like, huh? I was like, yeah, listen, let's turn this question around a little. There is no such thing as a challenge. There is only a teaching moment. There is no such thing as a challenge. There is only a teaching moment. Whenever you feel that you're being challenged or something is tough, what is it trying to tell you? It's trying to tell you, boss, you don't know how to do this yet. So, learn a little, level up. Because what you realize is that when something was tough at one point of time, the next time around it was easy. Right? You realize that once you leveled up, it was never a challenge again. Writing the first book, oh my god. Writing second book, better. Writing third book, easier. So what you need to learn is that everything is tough only because you haven't had one aha moment. As soon as you have that aha moment about whatever's in front of you, you automatically leveled up. Right? So the whole book, like you rightly said, is about aha moments. You know, like empty space. Oh, I am so tired and burnt out because I don't have empty space. One aha moment happened, in all of your aha moment happened, which is why you'll clap. Next time you'll realize that I need to create empty space. You'll have leveled up. So leveling up is the key to this. I was on the Habit Coach podcast, I was interviewing Devda Patnaik. And we were talking about Lakshmi and Saraswati ji. And it's in the book as well. So Goddess Lakshmi is about, wealth, etc. that we think about. In the book I have given a different definition of her. But he said something very powerful. He said that you must understand, always in mythology we say that Goddess Saraswati comes before, then Mahalakshmi comes. Knowledge comes before, only then does money come, goals come, whatever it is that you want to achieve comes. There was this beautiful moment I had, I think it was 2-3 years ago, before the books and before all of that. I was talking to Mitesh. Mitesh is our finance head in our company, or Max Consultants. And I was telling Mitesh, this entire business of habit coaching, where did it come from? He said, I know, you're earning so much money, where did it come from? I said, I know. It all came from all the books that I read. It came from all the interviews and all the beautiful meetings I had with so many friends here who guided me on so many things. And that knowledge translated into action, which translated into goals being achieved. So in the same way, there's no such thing as something hard. There's no such thing as a challenge. It's only that you haven't learned, you haven't had that one aha moment that's going to take you to that next level.
I love it! Do you love it? Love that! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open for your questions, for your thoughts, for you to share.
So one of the habits that I say is very important, which is what? Curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat. Wrong, is it? You should not say these things. Joking, guys.
Curiosity got the cat out of the bag. There's a whole bunch of cat people there. So, yes. So what's it? So curiosity is very important, and one good habit for curiosity is what? To ask lots of questions. Alright, so let's have lots of questions.
Oh gosh, I feel like a personal even every time I try to complete Ashdin's sentences. I'm like 10 years into this, I should know what he's about to say.
The second most curious person in the world.
You must ask the person.
What is
Hi.
Hi.
When
Thank you
you
so much for
talk,
coming.
I love you. When you talk, you can leave behind Sadhguru, Osho. जब ये बात
Baba is growing his hair, guys.
So seriously, जब ये बात करते हैं, it's just like I just want to sit like this and just listen. So much you have to give, and your books are full of knowledge. But the only where I feel difficult is we read a lot. But then we try to implement. But after some time, we want someone like you who can conduct some workshops or something. There are so many workshops on law of attraction or affirmation and all. उधर में वो गुरु पुश करता रहता है आपको. वो गुरु कहता है कि हैरी अभी ऐसे करना है. So are you planning to?
I love it. Yes. Hopefully we start lots of these. Instead of push, I love the attract philosophy. Right? So the whole thing is that you can tappo maro as much as you can, but I always love that you need to attract things to you. And that's what I want to do. I want to create curiosity. I want to create these little moments where people say, I want to know more. And then I think everyone who's part of my social media knows that there's a language called fatka. And those who don't ask the same question twice get fatkas. Right? You know what the fatka is? Everyone gets fatkas. Who wants a fatka? So that's how we get the ball moving with that. So yes, Harry, thank you. I'm going to do lots of these. Done, for sure. Thank you.
Hey Ash, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Tit was okay, madam. Tit.
Perfect. Ash, I think it's not a question, but I think your views on, and I've been grappling with the word rest. And if you could just elaborate on that. What you feel about it.
Beautiful question. It's something that is completely misunderstood. We are animals. Do you agree we are animals? Like, we are animals. What do animals do most of the time? They're resting. Why are they resting? They're resting because they need to use that energy for those moments of activity that they need. They need to chase something, they need to run away from something, they need to do something. We don't have that rest. We think sleeping at night is rest. But it's often not. The other thing, Priya, is that we misunderstand rest by doing something still. So what do we do when we are resting? We are watching Netflix. While we are watching Netflix, what else are we doing? We are on our phone. Right? While we are on our phone, what we are doing? We are thinking about something else.
Telling Rati what to make.
Telling Rati what to make. Then Rati is not listening to you, so then shouting at Rati, then getting upset, then you're saying that Rati, I have not seen what's happening on Netflix. Correct. So the full life cycle happens with this. So what we need to realize is that when we rest, we need to only rest. Netflix is not rest. How many of you all have done a Netflix marathon and felt tired after that? Yeah, exactly. So after watching, you feel dull, you feel fatigued, life has drifted you by. Instead, there are other things that you can do to rest. Sitting, looking out of the window, drawing, painting, doing something creative, I think is another fantastic form of rest. So I think I would use those instead of, something that's consumption.
I'm just going to add one, that's a great answer. And you mentioned the word creativity. And there is this thing that we wanted to discuss, right? About how creativity cannot be curbed under our own understanding of perfection. Can you elaborate on perfection and how creative, and what is perfection? And how can creativity evolve around, only in the absence of perfection?
I think perfection is boring.
Yes, thank you. Like
Right?
that's
Perfection
really
is
the
the
question.
stupidest thing. Perfection is an excuse for procrastination. One. Perfection is silly because there is no such thing as perfect. Right? What is perfect? And then even if you do get it perfect is boring. And my dad gave me this example, even though he calls himself a perfectionist, but he gave me a very good example many years ago when I was a child. He said that the notes on an electric keyboard are perfect. Right? It's always going to hit T every time you hit T. But why do we pay so much for all the other actual pianos that are, the regular with the string, etc.? Because they have imperfections. A Stradivarius violin has imperfections which makes it sound beautiful and unique. And every time we try and make it perfect, we're losing that uniqueness, we're losing the aspect of harmony in our life. So I would say perfectionism, very, very silly. Instead, what we need to do is focus on I would say. This is good enough, this is good enough. Fantastic. Feel good about
Does
it.
fun play a role in this?
Masti. Masti is so important, right? Masti is an interesting word because it has almost no English translation. I racked my brain about thinking what is an English translation for Masti? Doesn't exist. And Masti is something that we need in our life because Masti removes the staleness of life. Masti makes life more exciting. And most importantly, think about what children do, right? They have Masti, they play, they fail, they learn. When we fail with Masti, it's no longer a failure. Right? When we fail with perfection, we feel like, oh my God, life is over. What have I wasted my life on? Right? Fail with Masti instead.
Wow. Do you think we are harsh on ourselves?
Oh, lovely question. Do we think we are harsh on ourselves? You know, I wish we, and this is a cliche expression, but I wish we spoke to ourselves the way we speak to others. You know, one of the hardest exercises, and some psychiatrists say that it's a terrible thing to do because it breaks your image, is just stand and look at yourself in a mirror. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just stood in front of a mirror looking at yourself? And what happens? You first look at all the wrinkles that you have, then you look at this one hair that is sticking out, then you look at your nose and say, "Arey Baba, who got this potato nose? I'm going to blame my dad or I'm going to blame my mom." And then we keep on going through the flaws. We never look at that person. Now imagine you meet your friend, your loved one. When you look at them, do you look at that hair that is sticking out, that potato nose? Do you look at their wrinkles? Or do you look at an aspect of this beautiful person in front of you? I wish we all could look in the mirror and see that beautiful person that we see in others, in ourselves. Because that would change the way. You know, it would change the way we think of our body positivity, etc., etc., etc. And the way that we talk to ourselves would change. How many of us go, "Oh my God, I'm so stupid."
Oh.
Right?
You know, you made me do this, right? Can I add? Like, you made me do this. Every time I had this habit, I told Ashdin, I used to have this habit where if I messed up something, I would whack my forehead. It would be a really loud whack. And then I would say, "I'm so stupid." Sometimes it was just understood if I slapped my forehead, I am stupid. It was literally a reaction to that. And I cannot remember how many years it has been now that I have slapped my forehead. Because I changed, I am stupid, to I am human. If I don't mistake, who the hell will make mistake, man? That's you. Thank you.
Thank you. And your forehead, thanks you.
Not wrinkles, no Botox.
Wipe the wrinkles out of you. Now, any other more curious people? Hands up. If anybody wants to share anything, put your hands up, ask questions. Yay!
Yay!
Hey Ash.
Hi.
Love you so much.
Thank you. Love you too.
I'm seeing a new avatar because I see you at 6 in the morning every day, and look at you having two different. One is meditative and one is so elaborate on so many things.
Thank you.
And I'm so keen to read all your books. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have a meditation group in the morning. Every morning, 6 o'clock to 6:30, 6:45, we do our meditation. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of starting the day. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes. Hi.
Hi. So I read your first book and I really liked it. I'm keen to read the second book. I was thinking about skipping it, but when I heard your mom's introduction, I really liked it. I was really sold on this book and I also got Kubra's book.
Woohoo! Now only 3 copies.
Only 4 copies left.
So my question to you is that you said that you became a habit coach after reading a lot of books. So I would like to know your top 3 picks.
Wow. I think one beautiful book is a book called Success. One beautiful book is a book called Success Principles. Success Principles is this thick and has a lot of very, very interesting ideas in it. Then there was a book called Deep Nutrition, which was a very, very scary book. You know, there's one of those books that you read and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm putting it away, I'm not going to read it," because it said everything's going to kill you. And then only this way is a way to think about it. But it was a very interesting book because it taught me a lot about nutrition and nutrition principles. Then what other book? I think the Napoleon Hill book, what's it called?
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is another beautiful book, and I often use Think and Grow Rich as flip through any page, open it up, and it almost always seems relevant to anything that I'm doing. So I read Think and Grow Rich at least once a year. Because what Think and Grow Rich is about, it's not about money. Okay, we think and grow rich as this person's trying to be, money minded. No, it's actually about think and then take actions on the goal that you have set for yourself. So it can be think and create community, it can be think and do something else. But at least think. How much time do we spend thinking? We spend time overthinking. And there's a big difference between overthinking and thinking. Now, no one's asked me about overthinking, so I'll dive into it first. Immediately.
That's worrying. That's
worrying. Worrying is a negative energy in that aspect. Overthinking is very simple. Overthinking is not having control of your mind to think about what you want to think. Your mind is going to think, come what may. It's just not thinking about the things you wanted to think, which is why you think. It's called overthinking. But if it was thinking about the stuff you wanted to, sitting on the beach, sipping a pina colada, etc., it's not called overthinking, is it? Right? But it is about why did that person say that to me? Am I really like that? Right? Oh, stupid, etc. That is when we change, and I think that's critical. Yes?
The question is?
The question is, what's the difference between overthinking and being a scatterbrain?
You want to use the mic? Use the mic, Amit.
What's the difference between being a scatterbrain and overthinking?
Lovely. Overthinking is, like I said, thinking about things that you don't want to think. Scatterbrain, I think, firstly, is not necessarily a nice word that we use because it's a word that we use to judge. Overthinking at least okay, you can explain, but this person is a scatterbrain, we're using it as a label that we've attached to this person. And I think labels are something as a habit that we need to slowly move away from or be conscious about what labels we put. Okay, I am a habit coach means I only think coaching. Right? I am a something else means I only think this. And half the time we use words like this, I am a scatterbrain means what? I can't focus on anything. I have to read Ashdin's book. So, so the first thing, Amit, the difference is that one is a label. Okay, one is an actual activity that's happening to us. Scatterbraining in that sense is that I am doing something while I'm thinking about something else. I'm not living in this moment, I'm not living focused. And I think if we learn to bring ourselves back to this moment, I think the experience is going to be so much more beautiful. That's how I would think about it. Thank you. We have a super published author at the back.
Who's a super published author?
That onto the mic.
Hi Ash. Every 6 months I hear from you, you're doing something new. So what are your big results from you in 2025?
Wow!
I love it.
What a question!
Beautiful question. Thank you. During the lockdown, I had somebody assisting me. Okay, Shubha. In fact, she helped me on the One Habit a Day book quite a bit. And Shubha was like, Ashdin, I've only been with you 6 months, and in that 6 months, this has changed, that has changed, one TED talk also happened, one this happened, one that happened. Like, how much stuff are you doing? 2024 is 2024 or 2025? What is the question there?
25.
I think 25 is the year of breaking down and recreating. That's the honest feeling that I'm getting. I've done the habit coaching in this avatar for a while. I think in order to now take it to another level, some aspect has to be broken down so that you can recreate. And very often we're so scared of breaking down because we feel that breaking down means starting from zero. Breaking down is never starting from zero. You never ever start from zero because you always start with experience. You always start with knowledge, you always start with wisdom. And that is what I think 2025 is going to be. I think there is going to be a big identity or image shift in me. That is what my gut feel is. It's very interesting that you asked me this question, especially since after I spoke about Think and Grow Rich. I think this is the first time in my life I don't have a goal. And those of you who know me know that I always have had a goal for everything that I've done. This is where you're doing this, which is where the momentum comes from. This is the first time I don't have a goal and I'm relishing it.
It's the empty space in
It's the
your
empty
body.
space that I've created. I was just watching this beautiful documentary on Winston Churchill on Netflix. Apart from all that stuff that he did for India, and that's also mentioned in that documentary. there's something you can't take away from him, which is the way that he spoke, right? The way that he mobilized the English language. And there was this beautiful time when he was not sure about what he was going to do, and they called it his wandering years. There were a few years when he was like, should I be part of this political party, what should I fight, what should I not fight? And I think that is what empty space does. It's okay to be lost a little, but as long as you know and you have that self-confidence that I can ultimately get in a direction. So, Roshni, beautiful question. And that's my honest answer. Like I said, this is only loved ones, so I can be completely open and myself here. Thank you.
Next question, who is hungry?
Ravi.
Well done, Ashdin.
Thank you so much. Hey.
So, I work with teams and bring change around teams. And I once had a chef who used to come drunk to work. Very, very good. Not easy to fire him. But eventually we had to let him go because he couldn't overcome that. And having overcome a problem with alcohol myself, and using the carrot and stick with him still didn't help. Was it only that I was motivated, but he wasn't? Because while he was at work, there was no issue, but the environment in which he was at home, from where he wanted to escape, that is what led to the problem. So is there something that I could have done differently or better to help him overcome that and retain him in my team?
Beautiful question. I love it. You know, there are so many times we have these kinds of issues where somebody's habits are there and you can't figure out how to change them, like you rightly said. And you are the inspiration. You've done that, but still the person can't see it. Right? The person can't see it because it's probably not their time yet. And I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but it's not. It is that that person hasn't had that aha moment to want to change. Many people say I want to change, but secretly not. So you need to have that buy-in. Even when I'm working with my clients, if somebody says I want to stop drinking, I say, oh, fantastic, but not right now. Right? It will happen. Only once you make all the other changes in your habits. Then you realize I don't need this. What you rightly said is that this person went back to an environment where he said, I need this. And hence he continued drinking. If there was a way to pull him out of that environment, get him out of that environment into something else, maybe that could have made a difference for it. Also, I had an addiction expert on the podcast once, and he was talking about how alcohol and addiction, etc., is very DNA based. Right? There's certain people, if they have one sip of alcohol, will only have then 4 liters of alcohol afterwards. Right? There is no in between. There's no I can have one drink. So it was very interesting to learn these aspects. He was a rock and roll. He was big in a rock and roll band. I've forgotten which band. And then from there to losing wife, losing house, losing everything, and then realizing that this one little substance was causing it. So I think it's a very, very dire thing. Like I said, I don't start the process of working with people unless I help them with everything else to make sure that they feel robust enough to then let go of this crutch. It's a crutch, na? Imagine I pull out a crutch and I say, now chalo, walk a marathon with me. How are you going to walk a marathon? Right? Instead, I need to make you feel strong on your legs before you can then get there. So that's how I would approach it.
Thank you.
Yes, Amit. Divya, how are you doing on time? We good? Perfect. Guys, can we have a hand for Divya? She organized everything. She's part of the Westland team.
Once again, congratulations on your book launch.
Thank you.
What I'd like to ask is, how do you help people who are either blind to what they are doing, or
I can't hear you.
how do you help people who are blind to what they are doing, or who don't want to be helped, but they seriously need help? It could even be me or someone else.
Beautiful. So the way to do this is, we talk about habits and we think about habits as being unconscious. And they are. Subconscious, unconscious, we don't know how we're doing this, where we're doing this. And I say that my role as a habit coach is to make your unconscious habits firstly conscious. You know what you're doing? Because once you know what you're doing, only then can you change it. But But half the time we have no idea what we are doing in our life. We have no idea where we are, what are we saying, how are we thinking, what are the actions that we have. In fact, my first TEDx talk was on this, which was about that just like we inherit our genes, not genes, but like our genes, we inherit our habits as well. So the way my mom loves sugar is something I've inherited, not because I have a sugar gene, but because I think about sugar the same way my mom thinks about sugar, and sugar is everywhere in the house. So we have that sugar habit that exists. It's unconscious till you make it conscious. Then you make a change to that. And then hopefully you put in a habit that you actually want. Very often we replace something with a habit we don't really want. And then that goes for a toss again. So we put in something that we really want. And then after a while, watch the magic as it becomes unconscious again. So that's the way that we think about the cycle. Make the habit conscious, change the habit, and then turn it back into something unconscious.
Congratulations, and I think I'm really grateful for the day. Now?
Yes.
I'm very grateful for today that I am here, and my question is, I have read your first book, that is called Change Your Habit, Change Your Life. So I know that what it is exactly, what the habit is, and how we can create a habit, and how we can add these simple habits into our daily routine. But the thing is, what I did is, so my question is, how to create the systems? Because the system, so if you have a good system around you, so it will get automatically push that your habit you want to create. So I just wanted to ask you the question.
Beautiful question.
Wow.
So how do you put your habits on autopilot? Correct? That is the essence of it. So it first starts off, especially in Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, we spoke about intention. I mean, this also answers your question and your question. That unless you have an intention and a strong burning intention, there's no point trying to make a change. My partner wants me to change, my son wants me to change, my this one wants me to change, my boss wants me to change. Do I want to change? I'm good, it's okay. Like I want them to stop hounding me about it, but otherwise I'm okay. Right? Intention is not there, no change is going to take place. So we first create that intention of that change. Then what we do is we try and put as many habits in our life that we've changed on autopilot. How do we do this? By outsourcing our habits. And this is key. We outsource as many of our habits as possible. Many of us are lucky to be living in India where we have chefs, cooks, people who help us with this stuff. You can outsource so many of your habits to this person. You forget to have your medication on time, outsource your medication habit to them, make it in little pouches that they remind you and give it to you along with your lunch, dinner, soup, whatever it is. Automate these processes of habit change. You don't have to struggle with everything yourself. This is the way that I see these autopilot habits working. You want to move away from vegetable oils, right? Make sure vegetable oils never enter your house. That's the easiest way of moving away from vegetable oils, right? In our home, we used to have a jar of sugar next to the coffee machine. Now we have stevia next to the coffee machine. It's a swap. It's gone on autopilot. So that's the way to start thinking about habits. You don't need to be using energy every time you want to change a habit. You can also have a habit that you change using these systems, processes, and this autopilot form. Lovely. Thank you so much, Mr. Lovely. Any last question? Chitra. Guys, say hi to Chitra. Chitra and I have been friends since college, and I'm seeing her after college. So she's come with a sign. Hi. Hello. Lovely.
Hi, Ash. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you make us all very proud.
Thank you so much.
So, can you share a personal experience where a simple habit led to a significant change in your life?
Lovely. There's one habit that I tell everyone to do, and unfortunately everyone doesn't do it. Okay, but it's one of the most powerful one, which is journaling. Journaling is such a beautiful habit because what it does is it takes all the kachra from your mind and puts it down on paper. Right? You can journal towards something that is gratitude oriented, you can journal to something that is problem solution oriented, you can journal for whatever different way in which. But journal something. Have a space dedicated to writing. You know, get yourself a beautiful book that you feel joyous in when you start writing. Get a pen that you enjoy writing with and just start journaling your habits. This is again one of the habits that I learned from very, very successful people. Most of the most successful people in the world had journals and journaling as a habit that they continue. So that is something that I would say really changed my life. I'll give you an example. Every time I have a fight with my dad, and we're all sulking and we're like, I'll go to my room and I'll sit down and I'll journal and I'll write down, and all the aha moments from that fight happen. Now dad doesn't do journaling, right? So now you see where he is.
Don't give him the rookies.
See, as soon as the mic goes away from you, I can get you back as much.
No, just leave it. Oh, what happened? Listen, what is this? Dad was like, when is this getting over? He's awake.
Lovely. Any other questions? Or should we get into book signings? Dun dun dun! Yay! Roshni!
Yay! Thank you so much. What a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Please buy your copies of books, buy it for yourself, buy for friends. Bye bye bye. Come and I'm happy to personalize it for you so that you can enjoy it. Thank you.